Hey guys, so today I'm going to be making fudge with you, or you can be making fudge with me, or you're just watching for fun and entertainment. So you're going to need a pan, a rubber scraper of some sort that can withstand about 300 degrees of heat. You can get these, usually Amazon would be your best bet for industry ones. You're going to want to look for the ones with the red handle. Those can go up to 450 degrees. This one works pretty good. I've made fudge with this one, so that's the salt that we need for this. Measuring spoons, marshmallow fluff. I got this at World Market for about a third of the price at the grocery store. This one also has the recipe that we're going to be using on the back. You're also going to be needing evaporated milk, a key hold to open the evaporated milk, any type of vanilla extract that tastes good. This is the one we have we're using. Salt, this is pink Himalayan salt. Tablespoons of butter or margarine, whatever you have on hand. And then the recipe itself says 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. That's usually a little too sweet for me and my family. So we have dark chocolate chips and we have the semi-sweet chocolate chips. We're going to be cut half and half, basically where I'm going with that. Dark chocolate, I'm only going to use 6 ounces of dark chocolate and 6 ounces of semi. You're also going to need a pan of some sort, a receiving reciprocal for your fudge when it's done. I actually have some butter off to the side that I'm going to let soften up because this is going to take a while. The last time I made fudge, it took me about 45 minutes to get it up to the proper candy temperature, which is softball consistency, which is between 235 and 240 degrees Fahrenheit. Which brings me to my last piece of equipment you're going to need: a thermometer. A candy thermometer or a regular one. This is the one I keep in my kit. So let's get started. So I've already put my salt in here because it's the first 5 ingredients go into the pan. So that is our 2.5 cups of sugar, our 4 tablespoons of margarine or butter. I'm using butter. Use whatever you have on hand. Evaporated milk, and the marshmallow fluff and salt. The vanilla and chocolate are the last things we add to this. So let me add the rest of the ingredients to this and we can get started. This is a 1.5 cups, and this is our second cup. That's 2.5 cups of sugar. I go ahead and give this a shake just in case. This is 12 fluid ounces. So you can see here, I'm gonna put my hand here so you can see it. So 4 ounces is 1/2 cup. So we want to go basically between here, which will be about 2/3 of a cup. So 2/3 of a cup. We're gonna add our butter. You can just follow the markings on it, or you can just, it's a 1/2 stick of butter. 1/2 stick of butter. I'm going to turn my heat on to about medium. Give this a stir and get the sugar up and mixed in, and then we'll get the marshmallow fluff in here. I just want to kind of give it a stir so that the sugar does not start caramelizing on the bottom, because then it's a bitch to get up. Okay, so now we need the marshmallow fluff. So it does come with seal, so always make sure your seal is good. Ooh, this one's gonna be stubborn. It's open, so we're just gonna dump this into there. Take your spoon, bloop. This is a really easy recipe. It's a little time consuming. When I first made this, it did take me 45 minutes to do it because I had the heat probably a little bit lower than what I probably should have had. But I was also terrified of burning it or doing something stupid and wrong. So this is only the second time I've made fudge. So you're just going to want to constantly mix it. Also, if it gets too hot, you can move it over just a little bit off center from the flame, because the flame is here. So then your hand's not getting hot, because if you're standing here stirring it, your hand's going to get hot. And if you're like me and you have any type of metal on, like my bracelets, you will get burned if you're not careful. And the instructions say, combine first in 5 ingredients, stir over low heat until blended. So I'm going to turn my heat down to low. We're going to bring that to a boil. So once all of this melts, We're going to bring this to a boil over medium heat. We're going to boil slowly, stirring constantly, which means constantly the whole time you're sitting here stirring, or standing here stirring. Sitting. Who sits when they're cooking? And then the last step is to add the vanilla and the chocolate. So at this point, what's basically in the combining stage is when I'm going to butter the pan. So I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to wash my hand because I got marshmallow fluff all over my finger. Yuck. So as you can see, I put a glove on. This is the stick of butter I'm going to use. Butter. As is, just butter all of this. Otherwise it's going to stick. Well buttered. You can see how there's no real shiny spots anymore. I really want it to be really well buttered. And I still have quite a bit of that butter, and because I didn't touch it with my hands, I'm just going to wrap it back up in the wrapper and put it in the fridge because it's still perfectly usable for something else. So I only used probably about 2 tablespoons of butter in that pan. I'm finished buttering my pan. I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to make sure I'm scraping the edges of the pan to make sure everything is getting into the sugary milk, because that's basically what it is. It's sugary milk. See how the marshmallow is melting. It's almost ready to put on to medium. It looks like everything is melted. I'm just gonna scrape this off on the side of the pan and get that in there. So we're going to turn the flame up to medium, and we're going to get ready to stir. So at this point you might want to have, like an audible going, or your favorite YouTube podcast show going, because it's going to take a while. It says 5 minutes, but it lies. Make sure you're getting the corners around the pot. Make sure every once in a while you're scraping the sides. I've been cooking for a very long time. I just find it, cathartic to, just cook, even on my days off. It's nice. And it's something that I enjoy, that I know I can actually succeed at. I've been doing it for 15 years. I hated being an office worker just because staring at that computer screen and filing paperwork just sucked. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this has actually risen quite a bit since we put it in. It's probably about doubled its size since we've started. So this is where being ambidextrous comes in handy. We're at 200, 204. Turn this down just a little bit because I want you guys to be able to still see that. You can see how much it's actually risen. It's now almost to the top. We're at 213. It would help if I keep it in the heat. As you're stirring, you are adding some air to this so it cools it down. And make sure you're giving it a scrape. You're hitting the bottom and you're moving it around. You're going to see some of the caramelization coming up. There we go. Turn on you. There we go. Ouch. If you find that it's popping too much, you can turn it down a little bit because sugar burns do hurt. You have that cup of ice water nearby just in case. You don't want to mix it so vigorously that it's spitting up the sugar. You do want to constantly stir it. Hi Minerva. We hit 120, so we're almost there. Stay. See, ouch. We hit 221. What? Era? Oh, you brought your daughter? Is she your backup? Mm-hmm. Stay back. This spits. I don't want you to get hurting. Oh, that might help. I don't know what to talk about. Usually when I'm doing this, it's concentrating on this. I'm not used to talking about anything. I grew up in California. I was born and raised in the Port of Los Angeles, which is about 30 minutes south of the city of Los Angeles, near the Long Beach. I grew up in Carson, is where I lived, and then I went to school in San Pedro, which was the port city. That's where 4 generations of my mom's side of the family graduated from the same name high school, San Pedro High School. My little cousins graduated from there as well. My brother, he was the first of the 4th generation. I was the second. And our great-grandfather was student body president. My grandparents lived there and raised their kids. Both my grandmother and my grandfather, my Nana and Papa, they both went to San Pedro High School. My Papa, he joined the Air Force and he was stationed in Oklahoma. And that's where my mama was born. And then he was either honorably discharged or he got transferred back to California. I think he was discharged. He did his stint and then he went back to California. And then he started to go back for his chiropractor doctorates. He worked with my grandmother's father. Everybody, oh, you're Dr. Bob's granddaughter? Yep. Mrs. Smith, your mom? Yep. You tell? We look all alike. It is. You put me and my mom together and we look like copies. And then when you had my grandmother was alive, you'd see the 3 generations. You're like, yep, you all are carbon copies. The only thing that was different was our hair. Well, my hair. My mom and my Nana had the same hair, fine curly hair. Mine's fine, but it's thick. Like I have a lot of it, and it's straight. But now that I'm older, it's actually starting to get wavy, which my mom thinks is kind of silly, or not silly, but funny. But during the time which we do not speak of, 2020, my sister-in-law got a job out here in Tucson, and my brother moved out here, and then I followed in June of 2020, and then our parents came in November of 2020, so we've been here for almost 6 years. There we go, we're there, right? We're there. You can see the difference in it now that we've hit 230. See how it's, there we go, and hit it. Just scraping off the extra. I'm going to kill the heat. I'm going to add vanilla. Now this is the fun part. Not as violent. See, when you add the vanilla in something like this, it gets really violent. So now we're going to add the chocolate. No! No! Go. I just dropped a bunch of chocolate on the floor and I have to make sure none of the dogs eat it, because I have to work fast at this point. So this is really hot. What? We're gonna mix it. You can see how fast this is setting up. Okay, everything's melted. There's the pan. So once you get to this part, you gotta move fast, because it will start to cool down very, very quickly. You just kind of want to even it out a little bit. There you go. Fudge. Now you let this cool at room temperature. And then once it's fully cooled, you're going to cut it and store it. You can also freeze it. Just be careful that if you're using something metal like this, this is hot. So just be careful of that. So I hope you had fun. Thanks for watching. And I hope your fudge comes out silky smooth and perfect. So have a good one. Thanks, guys.